my friends, rather than go on and on and on, not making any videos, I've decided to share with you, there's Moonlight, what may be one of the most low energy videos I've ever done. Be that as it may, I've got something I can read right now. Oh, and I put it on widescreen just in case we get some more rainbows to enjoy. Okay. Right now I don't have the strength to do a live one simply because I don't have what it takes in order to do the written journal that would go with it. I think by now many of you realize that when I do a live journal, the video is just one side of the coin, and it's a part of the same flow that you will find in the written one. And I've got a community on Scribe there that's following me, and so, you know, some people like written and some like the videos, but you know, there's some effort in the written ones. There's links and things that I put in there, little goodies for you. So I hope more and more of you will click over and discover what's there for you. All right, now this journal is from July 16th, and it's the first one of that day. The Mayan day was 2 wind, and let's see what it has to say. This is July 16th, and it's hard to believe that I haven't done a written journal since the 9th. That's terribly long for me, but hey, what's new, right? We're all changing. I have done 2 live ones since that time, so that's something. As for the rest, I was just recording what had been written before. It's been so intense for me, I truthfully haven't known which end is up. As you saw, if you watched my last journal, I was pretty much at a loss for words. Where normally all I would need to do is turn the camera on and start talking for the flow to commence, well, it was different yesterday. I pulled that journal topic from Mind, or so I thought. Heck, I truly don't know at this point. Mind is an unknown quantity. Often what happens is that we'll go through a rough period of change for a bit, and then things will level off, and we'll have a break. A few days anyway, and it'll be during this time that we can begin to sense what is different. Now that's if we're self-observing, or maybe a bit later. Still, we'll sense some sort of a change, even if we really can't yet articulate it. What's been going on lately is 3 or 4 weeks of unending change, well, without let-up. Ken confirmed for me yesterday, and he's the medical intuitive I work with, that what I had been suspecting for some time now, that I'm sensitive to solar storms, perhaps highly so. Well, I thought that was something new, but he said no. So I guess it was one of those things that while sleeping along, I just didn't notice. No doubt there are more. We're all awakening together, my friends. In a way, it's like a family. Well, it can be. That depends on how much you're open to reconfiguring your concepts around the idea of family. It's time, the way I see it, to do a brain dump and eliminate our reliance on simply all concepts we contain. Just let them go. give yourself permission to reconfigure not just your language or words, but what they mean too. Heck, our bodies are being reconfigured, so why not the rest, right? Let's just do our best to be fully open to what arises in our now. And that's enough. You're never responsible for more than your now. Do you realize that? If not, maybe take a few moments, press pause, or stop reading and just sit with it. Only now. Nothing more. Take some time to pull yourself back into just now. You're only responsible for that. Leave the past behind. Just drop it. It's not relevant to now, believe it or not. Now, I'll explain that later. For now, just drop the past. Put it down, that's all. You can always pick it up again later. This is harmless, I assure you. Be in heart. Now, do the same with the future. Look at yourself. How much of you is invested out there in the future? How big are your plans relative to your now? How much of you is in this ephemeral thing that truly doesn't exist, except as a concept in your head? That's all the future is. It may be a lot. You may have huge expectations and plans. Maybe some of them around the 2012 thing. Well, so what? Put them down. Just for now, set those aside. This is to give yourself at least one moment of peace. You see, you truly can't enter heart and take along all this unreal baggage. The past and the future won't be coming in with you into heart. Heart is a timeless place. There simply is no room there for time and space. They have to be checked at the threshold, so to speak. Our concepts around them are all wrong anyway, so do set them down. And now, feel into your now. Watch closely for thoughts. Why is that? Well, so you can ignore them, of course. Don't click those links. It's not so difficult, really. Once you get the hang of it, you'll find it's really just child's play. Just ignore thoughts, letting them float by like clouds on the breeze. When the breeze isn't blowing fast enough, give it a push with your will. Remember, in here, you're a deity. Your will commands in your kingdom of heart. You may want to take some time later for this little exercise. Don't wait until you're so stressed or your nerves are so jangled that it'll make it difficult for you. Just choose a regular sort of time to take a time break. A break from the burden of future and past. My bet is that you'll be surprised initially to discover what a weight and a burden are contained in these concepts. Actually, this little exercise is a very good preparation for entering heart. If you've found that any sort of a challenge before, this can assist. A big part of setting mind aside, giving it a break, is stepping out of past and future. That done, we're in a great position to stop thinking our thoughts. It helps us step back from mind enough to disidentify from it, to realize that, hey, we're not that. Some will be truly amazed at this, maybe you. Being in heart is the big thing, as I see it. All you can do to help and encourage this in your life is a good way of showing love for yourself. Most of us know, unlike the masses, that Until we have real love for the self, we don't have it to give to anyone else. It's just not there. Just not possible. What we have to give before then amounts to pseudo-love. Now, in the world, pseudo-love is pretty much all that there is. Even the finest love affair, if looked at from heart or from higher perspective, is only that. The world doesn't know the fullness of love. Those who know this experientially are those who've had NDEs, near-death experiences, or those who've deeply entered into heart or into meditation. We just know. The others must take it on faith until they get around to proving it to themselves. Once we're there, once we know something of the contrast between love, as the world defines it, and the divine love we find within, we find it only makes sense. It helps make sense of the reality that life is all one. It makes sense of the fact that nothing changes outside until it changes within. A lot of things we once had to take on faith ourselves now become knowings, become knowledge that we are. We don't own knowledge, we become it. More and more we're discovering that this is thing, this is-ness thing, is all-pervading. A lovely guy named Raymond had an NDE back when his body was just 9 years old. As he basked in the light, he looked around and he summed it up like this: the whole world was Raymonding. Can you feel into that? Feel into it deeply? I'll give you a link so you can hear it from him and experience that. It really pays to watch and listen to the NDEers share their gifts, share their experience, what they brought back with them from the other side. Now that's more our true home than this side, this 3D life is, friends. Listening to them is a way to take a quick break, a visit home, back to where our true natures abide and can be free. We're still there. Did you know that? Once you get more into this is-ness thing, you begin to hear that, and then it'll just click. We're still there. You'll know more, and you'll know it experientially, by your experience, not someone else's, just what is meant. The universe is Raymonding. Indeed it is. And it's Sita-ing, and Mary-ing, and Jacobing, and Michaeling, and all the rest. Now this is sacred heart knowledge. You know that? Are you ready for it? I sense that the world is finally ready for us all to bring our deep, our inner core messages out. People are finally waking up enough to not just listen but hear. And when they listen, especially once they can listen from within, they are ignited themselves. It's a match, a light, a true fire being conveyed. More than just a catalyst, but also that. It's all about being, my friends, about I am. We all say that. We all sense, even if just mentally from the Bible, something special about those I am words. Well, those are words of being. The conjugation of the verb to be is I am, she is, he is, they are, they were, etc. Being. Please notice that this is very strictly structurally only in now. It has nothing to say about future or past, only is, only now. Now, take a step farther with me. Let's look at the word know, as in knowledge. What do you see contained there? Do you see now? What is known is strictly in now. It contains now. Notice something else, and I feel several of you already did. Known also contains own. What is known is owned. Now, yes, I realize you can stretch it and also find one, W-O-N. Hey, working with words is fun. They're more powerful than almost anyone knows. Words structure consciousness. Look at that phrase. Feel into it. Words structure consciousness. Can you see it? Can you accept it? If you can begin to peek into their power. And more than that, you can begin to take back power over your life by simply taking command of your language, your use of words. It's all about just being aware, being in now, bringing your focus to front and center. The focus to awaken must first turn towards self and away from the world. Second, it must enter inside, must go within. Just trust that it will if you feel you've been having trouble with this. No effort, please. The reality is that you are already within. This isn't something you must do. It is something that you will discover instead. You are already there. One day, if not now, you'll discover the reality that you are already everywhere. Everyone. Can you just sit with that for a moment, soak it up, let it in? This mad, wild rush that so many people find themselves in out there in the world is toxic. It's programmed. Yet, if people only knew, you can just step out of it. Walk away. There's nothing to fight, nothing to master. Just walk away, turn your head. It's just like ignoring thoughts. You don't fight them. You don't master them. You turn away. You don't click the link. Do you begin to see? Look at the R word, A-R-E. It's a part of the conjugation of is, being. You are, he is, she is, they are, to be. Now, look at the word area. You just added an A to R and spread out over space. Is, or to be, points only to now. But, as you see, it also contains space, as the word area indicates. Time-space is one. Time and space are joined at the hip. They contain or include each other. Just begin to observe. Everything always gets back down to pure being, to now in the end. And as a for instance of how they're joined at the hip, if I tell you I made a journey from LA to Philadelphia across the United States, I haven't really told you anything. Did it take me months on end? Did I make it in a wagon train? Or a car? A jet? Or the SST, a supersonic jet? You've got to have both the space and the time coordinate for you to have really said anything that you can anchor down here in 3D. Now, can you see all of this as just pointers to the within? They're all pointing straight to heart, to your already presence there. You are that. Yes, even without really knowing it. That part doesn't matter. What the conscious mind knows or is aware of is very secondary to that which is. Small subset. That's why the mind, or through the mind, we can be misled. Mind is capable of confusion, but never heart. Now there is a higher mind. We're coming into that. It too is and will be a part of our experience. Now or shortly, all of the awakened ones will know this. So please don't fret over the programmed state of your current mind. Conscious and subconscious and unconscious too. Let all worry and over-concern go. Just be, and be at peace. This too is available to you once you let go of mind. The plot centered, at least partly, on getting us to identify with the mind. They knew well how they could control the mind aspect of us. So the trick was to get us so identified with it that we would believe we were also being controlled. We were not. Yet that doesn't matter when you believe you are. What you believe rules, only so long as you continue in that belief. Now, this may sound terrible, horrible, yet if you look again, do you see the empowerment it also contains? And it's right there to be seen. It will depend a lot on how much weeding your belief garden has had. The empowerment is the fact that you can take charge of those beliefs. Just like thoughts, you can choose whether to continue to believe them or not. So that puts you firmly in control. When? When you decide to be in control. Until then, in effect, you're owned by the matrix through your beliefs. Once everyone begins to see how totally founded on beliefs this whole thing, the whole structure of the matrix is, we'll all be extricating ourselves. I won't go into the detail of how here, since I've covered that often enough. It's largely just a matter of planting new beliefs while watching for the old ones to crop up in your thoughts. And when they do, that's your choice point. In that moment, you get to choose to continue belief in the old ways or not. Then you can just withdraw belief. You can invalidate that thought. Send it packing, in effect. People are oh so powerful. It's amazing how we're all acting as if we were these little robots or puppets or something, not knowing that, in effect, we're the gods, a little g always. It's the whole thing of being in a prison, yes. This I freely admit. But it's like having the key in our breast pocket, only not knowing that. All your life, it was always your choice, prison or release. By your non-choice, you made your choice to remain. Now remember, own the fullness of yourself, not just the conscious part. What you do from the subconscious or unconscious, where your beliefs reside, you do. It won't seem that way to the conscious mind. But that doesn't matter. Own the fullness of self. Subconscious, unconscious, conscious, and superconscious. All of that is you. Well, be that as it is. This is now, and things are different for multiple reasons, and who knows what they are, since right now it doesn't matter. Times have changed. This is the time now of our awakening, and we're being helped massively to enter higher consciousness. Even just knowing this can be a real lift. No doubt things can be gruelingly hard or challenging here in 3D. Sometimes just one knowing like this can give a good solid lift. Maybe get a small notebook and in it write down those things that really touch you. That's how I started journaling. Things that give you that lift. If you'll write them down in the moment, in the now when they appear, they'll have real power for you. In another now, when you might be down for some reason or anxious or whatever, you can pull out your notebook where you've recorded your special things. I used to save the most special funny things, the jokes that were good and wonderful and at no one's expense. I had a file folder where I'd print them out, tuck them away. It was great to pull that funnies folder out and share it or browse through it at times. Again, a way of loving the self. Designing a pick-me-up like that and then using it. It's the little things, guys. How much of peace can you claim? Are you aware that you, yourself, your real self, are a fountain of divine peace? Can you guess where it's found? All we need do is center down into heart to discover it there, just waiting for us. Once we're at peace within, there will be no more war. That's how we make change. You'll notice it even in your personal relationships. You'll notice yourself not fighting where you would have done so before. It's amazing, friends. Life is better, so much better than any one of us ever dreamed. And it's going to keep getting more and more magnificent forever. That's the power of love. Just as time has been accelerating like crazy of late, so it is with the magnificence of life. What we haven't realized is that we've had blinders on for so long, and further, that we put those blinders on ourselves. We were somehow convinced, read that, tricked, to do this, all unknowing in the conscious part of us. Well, the time for that is past. It's over. You can claim that in your own personal life. That's how it will be ushered in for the rest. You and I, the light beings, and not light workers, for it requires no work, it's just being, we will get on the incoming wave and waves of light and change. We're riding that now. We're letting it change us, which amounts to letting it remind us of who and what we really are. By seeing our changes, the rest will take note. Soon, quite soon, in relative time, there will be such a crush of us, so many light beings shining so brightly while going our own way, that the others will rise up from their daily grind. They'll first begin to just see what's going on, but with no understanding. They won't always respond kindly to you, so be in heart for that. Let's love them free. We've already reached the tipping point, friends. The tide has turned, finally. And that's huge. Now, I have nothing to point to, no particular statistics that makes me say this, just my heart. Heart knows, it doesn't rely on mind. And there's a relationship of trust built up that you can rely on with your heart. And this will be required, too. It's part of the new way of walking in our kingdom of heart. Many will not awaken in this cycle. For some, it's just not their time. Please don't be attached or hold expectations around that. Just let be. It is what it is. You can choose to accept it. That's your right. or like the rest, you can continue to choose to fight what is. That's what people spend their lives doing. Fighting life, fighting that which is. Fighting reality, in effect. Like Don Quixote, tilting at windmills, believing lies and fairy tales, lifetime after lifetime. Someday they'll tire of it, you can be sure. The day will come when they too are ready, able, and finally willing to go along. Until then, their free will is sacred, my friends. We're going to have to find it in ourselves, and it is there to deeply respect all free will. It's everyone's right to have their free will respected by others. Can you see that? Then don't believe mind when it tries to have you interfere in someone's life. Take 3 steps back and look again. Distance. We need sufficient distance on things. And of course, to get the perfect distance from it all, just go within. The ideal everything is found there. Heart will so reinterpret life for you that you'll wonder if you're living the same life still. Or maybe you've reincarnated and this is another one. The difference will be that stark. Be prepared. Just be willing, that's the big thing. Can you see it? Can you see how your openness, your willingness is required? And this gets right to the core of free will. It involves your garden of belief and your use of language to a great extent. All beliefs, whatever they are encoded in our language, and they contain blinders and limits. Yes, even the best and highest beliefs. That's perhaps why the wise ones counsel emptiness, letting go, total surrender. Drop all expectations, friends. See them as beliefs and just let them go. This ride, once we enter heart, is really great fun. Joy and delight is never ending. There are new things around every bend, in every now. Everything is perpetually new. Now then again, the other side of that coin is that all is perpetually the same. Yet, while we're in heart, we can hold both of these beliefs and not be stretched. It's a magical place. And here's the real beauty. You get to go precisely your own way. That way is divine and laid out for you by your own innate divinity. You get to completely follow your bliss. This is actually the best way of being true to the self. It doesn't mean you'll have no more challenge or pain. Do be aware that 3D just is what it is, and it's a combo of light and dark. That's just what is. Cease fighting it. No more resistance. Just let things be. Let it be your business to go within, to perceive life from there. Let everyone else's life be their own business, not yours. When they bother you, set your boundaries appropriately. Love both them and yourself. Give both of you sufficient room to breathe, to find your own joy. Let's be unafraid, my friends. Be unafraid to follow our bliss. As long as you stay out of mind, that is, don't trust its counsel, you'll be fine. When you find yourself in a fix, look to mind. I suggest you'll likely find mind is the culprit every time. Sometimes all you can do is to step back from things. Well, okay, get good at it. Learn to just watch and observe. Become an expert at that. Be an expert at that. All of your answers, your power, your keys to everything are found within. Nowhere else. They're all now here, and that points to heart. see it. Soon your inner vision, heart vision, will take over, if that's your desire. You're likely already seeing things quite differently than ever before. That's happening to most of us. Many don't yet recognize the inner changes, but they begin to see them in the world. Out there, so to speak. Well, that's fine. Remember, your job is not to save the world. Save the self first and foremost, or you have nothing to give. Besides, in the process of saving the self, you'll discover that there is no world. There is no spoon. You are that. Inside, you knew it all along. It just took this whole ride to bring the conscious mind into that knowing. And that was the point. Nothing is wrong. You never made even one mistake. Hear that? I don't care what you've done. You never made any mistake. Ever, ever, ever. Open up to this. Leave the mind out of it. Let it in, for pity's sake, if nothing else. Have a heart. In other words, blessings, dear friends.